Drawing this ink illustration is easier than you think, and I'm going to show you how you can do it even if you're a beginner in digital art. For this illustration, you will need my free sample stipple brush, so make sure you have downloaded it before you start drawing. And this brush comes from my inking and stippling brush set. If you are interested in it, you can download it, link is in the description of this video. But if you don't have it, don't worry, you can still draw this using that one free brush and any of the ink brush from Procreate. If you are new to my channel, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of my new videos. And if you enjoyed this video and would like to draw more of me, join my Patreon where I have more step-by-step tutorials like this and many Procreate brushes. Link is in the description. And with all that being said, let's start. Let's make a new canvas, A4 canvas from Procreate. We are going to rotate it this way. And first we can import here a paper texture. So let's go to the Actions menu. Go to Add and pick Insert a File. And then you can use any of my free paper textures, or if you have my inking and stippling brush set, you can use any of the paper textures that are included with that set. I'm going to take here number 2. I'll rotate it this way so it will fit the canvas, like that. And then let's tap here to finish this. First we are going to make the sketch of our ink design. For this, let's take any color. I will take something gray like this. And we can take any sketching brush. So let's go here to the sketching. And I will use Derwent brush. Now we have to make a new layer to draw that sketch on. So let's tap here and make a new layer. Let's make the brush size 100%. And draw a circle like that. Hold your pencil on the screen and now put your finger here to make this a perfect circle. Now you can use the arrow tool and turn on the snapping on so you can move it to the middle of the canvas. It will snap in there like that. Let's tap here to finish. And here we can now draw our moon. Start somewhere here from the top middle part and draw an arc like that. I'll fix the edges of this to go more like this. And now somewhere lower than the middle, we can draw a nose. So let's draw like that. Make it more pointy maybe. And the mouth. Something like this. Let's give him a smile. And now the eye. Let's draw an almond shape like this. Now an iris inside of it. We can draw some eyelashes maybe, make this more interesting like that. And maybe a fancy eyebrow like that. Now let's draw here 2 mountains. So start with a shape like that, shaky line going up here, and now go down with it. And the second mountain a little bit smaller, somewhere over here. Now from the middle point, let's draw a line going this way. And same here, we can make this one a little bit more shaky, like that. And now here we can draw some planets. Let's start with a bigger one over here on the edge of the big circle. So draw a circle here, hold your pencil on screen and put your finger here to make this a perfect circle. Something like that. If you want, you can tap here and still edit it, move it around, and then tap with your finger on the screen. Now let's draw here an ellipse going around this circle. So like this, hold your pencil here, and now let's tap here to adjust it. So I will move it here, I'll make it maybe a little bit smaller. Okay, and now another one, like that. Now let's draw 2 smaller circles here, one here, and one maybe somewhere over here. And I will maybe just fix this shape of the mountain here and make it a little bit bigger. Like that. Okay, this is finished. Now we can start applying ink outline to it. First we have to change the blending mode of this layer. Let's tap here and let's set it to multiply and turn on the opacity here. I'll make it 46%. We can also rename this. So tap here and take rename and let's call this sketch. Now let's make a new layer and move this under the sketch layer here. Now, if we just draw on this layer with black color, we are not going to see any of the paper texture anymore. And I think it will be nice to see it, so that's why I'm going to change here the blending mode. I'm going to set it to linear burn. So now let's take our brush for inking. I'm going to use here one of the brushes in my new brush set. I will use here Basic Inker. But if you don't have this, you can go to inking and take maybe Studio Pen, Technical Pen. You can also use just monoline brush from calligraphy. So I'll take my Basic Inker, and before we start drawing, I want to show you what I meant with seeing the paper texture through the ink. I'll make the brush size 100% for now, and now if I draw here, you can see that paper texture is still here, but I'm drawing here with a dark gray color. If I change this to black, the paper texture will not be visible, so it's up to you if you want to use black color or if you want to use like a dark gray color. I'm going to go for the dark gray color. Maybe something over here. Let's see. I don't see much of that texture, so I'll make it just a little bit lighter. I'll try here. Okay, I can see some of the texture. So now my brush size will be 9%. And I'm going to start outlining this. First I'm going to outline the big circle. So I'll draw a circle here like this. I hold my pencil on the screen, put my finger here, and now I'll just try to make it the same size as the other circle, as my sketch circle. I'll take this and I will move it over there. Now I'm going to outline here the moon shape. And if you think that the line is too shaky, you can fix it. You can just go to the brushes settings, over here, and go to the stabilization and adjust the streamline amount or stabilization amount. The higher the number, the less shaky your lines will be. I like to keep it a little bit shaky so it looks like it's hand-drawn. So let's continue outlining this. Now we can outline his face, his brow and his eye. We can color the eye inside. And now we can outline the other elements on new layers. This way it will be easier in a moment to erase some lines that we don't want to see. So let's make a new layer. And outline this mountain first. And because this is in a separate layer, you don't have to worry about going with your lines outside of the circle. We can fix it easily in a moment. And now let's take a small break. I would like to ask you to write a comment with the word ink. It would mean a lot to me. I would know that you're enjoying the video, and it would be nice to see who is watching me. So thank you for writing a comment. Now we can go back to drawing. On the same layer, I'm going to outline those two small planets. And now let's take the eraser, let's tap on it again, and let's set it to calligraphy and monoline brush. My brush size here will be 38%. And now easily I can erase those lines here, so they will connect with that circle shape perfectly. Now we can make a new layer to draw the big circle here. And now we'll draw the ellipses on a new layer too. We'll be erasing the lines we don't want to see in a moment. Okay, so now on this layer we have to erase those two lines that are behind the circle. Like that. Now let's go to the layer of the circle, this one. And here we have to erase those two lines, this one and this one. And now let's go to the layer of the big circle, this one over here, and erase this line. Now we can turn off the sketch to see if everything looks nice. So just tap here. And let's see. Yes, I'm happy with how this looks. So we can now merge all of those layers with the outlines together. So we can just pinch them like this. Now they are on the same layer, and this is still set to the linear burn. We can start coloring this inside. Let's start with the moon. We are going to color it on a new layer, but first we want to select the shape of the moon. So let's take the selection tool, at the bottom pick automatic, and make sure the color fill is not turned on, and tap somewhere in the moon. Now swipe your pencil to the right to make sure that the selection threshold is a large number. Now let's make a new layer. And let's move this over here, so under the outline layer. And we can now add here some shading with our stippling brush. So let's take the brush, blob stipple 3. Let's make the brush size maybe bigger, 19%. And add it here like that. We can add now a little bit more of this to create some more shadow right on the edge here. And now I would like to add here some more dots going this way. So I will use here this one, blob stipple 1. And if you don't have my brush set, you can just go to the ink brush that you're using for the outline and just manually add some small dots around here too. Now I'm going to make the brush size 9%. I'm trying to match the size of the brush now to the dots that are here. Yes, this is good size. And I'm just going to add here some dots going more out, like that. With the same brush, I'm going to add here a little shadow under his eye. Like that. And maybe on top of his eye. I will also add it right here at the bottom part of his nose. Okay, when I finish, I can just tap here. Now we are going to add the color to the sky here. But first, actually, I forgot to set this layer to linear burn. All the layers that we're going to add ink to should be set to linear burn now. Let's go to this layer here with the outline. Maybe I'm just going to rename it quickly. And now we're going to select this area here. So let's take the selection tool and just tap here and also here. Now let's make a new layer. Let's move it under the outline layer. Set it to linear burn. And we can just color it like that, all with black. I want to add here now some inverted shading. So for this, I'm going to tap on this layer here, and I'm going to add here mask. Now, if we want to take away some of this color here, we have to keep this black color. Let's take the brush. I'm going to use here different stipple pattern. I'm going to use drop stipple 4. If you don't have my brush set, you can just keep using that free stipple brush. So now I'll make my brush size here maybe 20%. And I will just add it here like that. Now I'll still tap here a few times on top edge. And now I'll use this brush, drop stipple 1, to add some small dots still on the edge here, fading it away nicer. So I'll make the brush size here 5%, and I'll just add here a few dots like that. And you can keep using here the inking brush the same way like we did it here. Okay, I'm happy with how this looks. I can tap here to finish this. Now we can add some shading to the planets. So let's go back to the layer of the outline. Let's take the selection tool and select the planets. Like this. And now let's make a new layer. Move it under the outline. Set it to linear burn. And we can add here some pattern. For the small planets, I'm going to add here some dots. So for this, I'll use my ink pattern here. This one, dots pattern 2. If you don't have it, you can just draw the dots manually. I'll just do like this, and same here. And now for this one, I will use another brush. I will use lines. I'll make the brush size smaller. 8%, and I'll just add it here like that. Again, you can just hand draw it. I still want to add here some shading, so I'll change the brush to the stipple brush. I'm going to use this one, blob stipple 4, with a small size, 2%. I'll just add it over here on the side, and same here. Now for this one, I'll just add it here. And now I'll change the brush to blob stipple 2. And with the brush size 18, I'll just make it more intense here like that. I'll make the brush size smaller now, 2%, and add it still here under those ellipse shapes. So for the planets, this is enough. Now let's add the pattern and shading to the ellipse shapes. So let's go to the outline layer, turn off the selection and put it back on, so you can select this. Let's make a new layer, put it under the outline layer, set it to linear burn, and let's take the stipple brush. So you can use here the free stipple brush. I will use here this one, Fast Stipple 4 brush, because I want this to be very, very gentle. I'll make it small, 3%, and I'll just add it here like this, all over it. And now I'll make it more intense here in the back. Just like that. I want to add here still some pattern on top of this. I will change the brush here. I'm going to use the Dash brush. Again, if you don't have it, you can just draw the lines manually. I'll make the size here 5%. And I will just follow the shape of the ellipse like that. I can edit it still. And I will add one more. Okay, so this is finished. Now let's add some shading to the mountains. Let's tap here to finish. And let's go to the outline layer. Take the selection again. And first we can select those right sides of our mountains. So this and this. Those sides will have the light on them, so there will be less pattern on them. Let's make a new layer for this. Let's move it under the outline. Set it to linear burn. And let's take our stippling brush. So here I will take this one, Blob Stipple 1. And again, if you don't have it, you can just hand draw manually some small dots. I want to make here just a small pattern. So I will just use the brush size here 9. And I'll just add here some lines like this, just to make this mountain more interesting, so that there is some texture and shadow on it, but not too much. We'll have way more shadow on those other sides, on the left sides. Okay, I think this is enough. So I just drew here some random shapes. Now let's select the left side of the mountains. So let's tap here. Now let's go back to the outline layer. Take the selection again. And here we want to select a specific shapes. Let's take here the freehand option now. And we can create here selections like that. Go along the outline line. And then go out here and just make kind of like a pointy random shape like this. Tap here to close this selection. Let's add a few more like this. So go along the outline and now make something like that maybe. And here I'll go when the shape is curved like that. And I'll select something like this. And now for this shape here, I'll make just one selection over here. And maybe I'll make one more somewhere here like that. Let's make a new layer for this now. Move it under the outline layer and set it to linear burn. Let's take our stipple brush. Let's use the Blob Stipple 3 and just add it here like that, but let's make it smaller. Let's make it now maybe 8%. and add it here like that. Let's add it more here by the edge of the mountain. Now same here. And same for this part. Now let's turn off the selection. And now select the whole left areas of the mountains. So let's go back to the outline layer, take the selection, change this here back to automatic, and select those areas here. Now let's go back to that other layer here, this one. And we can add some of that steeple pattern here on the edge. So it will be here like that. Same here. And now here again I will take different brush. I'll take Blob Steeple 1 to add some more dots over here around those shapes. And if you don't have it, just go to your inking brush and do it manually. So I'll just spread this around a little bit more like this. Maybe I'll make the brush size smaller, 6%. I will also maybe add here some new shape, somewhere like that. And maybe one more here. And I'll do the same here. And now I think this is enough, so I can turn off the selection. And I have to erase here this. I came out here of the outline with my selection before, so I'll just erase it like that. Okay, now as a finishing touch we can add some more stars here around the sky, maybe some dots, and something still around this planet. So for this I will make a new layer. We are going to use here white color, so I'm going to leave this here as normal. Let's take the white color. You can take something maybe almost white, doesn't have to be exactly white. And I'm going to use here my stamp brushes from the set. If you don't have them, you can just manually draw some shapes like stars and dots. I will take here the plus. I'll make the bar size 12 and I will stamp it here a few times like that. Now maybe I'll make it bigger, 19%, and add it in a few places. And now smaller one, 4. And again, I'll just stamp it a few times. Now I'm going to take the dot brush. I'll make the brush size 11. And I will add it in a few places here. Now smaller one, 3. Again, I'll stamp it a few times. And now I'll change the brush for the star. I'll make it size 14. And I will stamp it again just a few times. And maybe a smaller one, 5%. And now in the end, I still want to add here something around this planet. I will add here a line from crosses. So I'm going to change the brush. I'll take the X brush. I'll make the size here 5%. And I will draw here an arc like this. So to follow the shape of the ellipse, I will stop somewhere around here and I'm holding my pencil on the screen to make this a nice shape. And I'm going to continue here with the dark color, with a dark gray color, but because this layer is not a linear burn layer, I have to do it on another layer. So I can even do it maybe here on this layer, with the shadows on the mountains. I will take that dark gray color here, and I will continue that ellipse shape here like that. Okay, and now on the same layer I want to still add here some small dots around the eyebrow. So for this I'll take the dot brush. I'll make the brush size here 7%, and I'll just follow the shape of the eyebrow here. I will also add here one dot for his nose. And now this illustration is finished. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you can share your drawing with me on my Instagram. I would love to see it. And if you'd like to draw more of me, don't forget to check out my Patreon. Link is in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in my next video. Bye!